I'm so pleased to be here. Uh, I also, in addition to working with North Kootenai, I get to serve as president for the Idaho-Washington Aquifer Collaborative, and I also serve on the Kootenai County Aquifer Protection District Advisory Board. And I think, yeah, and there I am. So today I really want to talk about North Kootenai Water and Sewer District, um, predominantly their conservation efforts over the last few years and are planned for the future. If you're not familiar with North Kootenai Water and Sewer, we serve over 15,000 residents in Kootenai County via 15 individual public drinking water systems. Some systems serve 25 people, and some systems serve 5,000 people. We have 23 wells that draw from the Spokane Valley Rathdrum Prairie Aquifer, and we also have two surface water intakes. One is on Hayden Lake, and it serves the Hayden Haven Gem Shore system, and the other intake is on Lake Coeur d'Alene over by Arrow Point, and that serves the Gosser Ranch system. The cool fun fact about North Kootenai, I think that not a lot of people realize, is it was actually born by a legal suit brought on by customers of a few water systems in the area that were served by a private drinking water system. They were really disheartened by the service and the water quality. So what they ended up doing was they voted into existence a water district in the early 1990s, and that became active in 1999. So since that time, the district has invested about $9.5 million in water system infrastructure over the Rathdrum Prairie Aquifer supplied systems, which there are 13. And we're continuing to work to improve our depreciated assets acquired through our formation. So one of the things that is on our mind is growth and keeping up with that. This is a slide from a report that was actually completed by IWERI in 2015, and it is essentially a table of service areas of the larger public drinking water systems in Kootenai County and their population growth by year. We are actually right on track at 15,000 in 2025, and we fully anticipate by 2040 we'll be serving a greater population than even the city of Post Falls. And if you were to look at if I'll back up a little, if you look at our service area, you can see that what's probably what this report is insinuating is going to occur is the city of Post Falls, city of Coeur d'Alene, city of Hayden are going to essentially extend out into their service boundaries. But North Kootenai Water District is going to have a lot of room for growth in the Twin area, the Chilco area, which is up here, Atlas Acres, Ohio Match. We're just going to continue to see that growth. So one of the things that's on our mind is how do we prepare for that? Another slide from the IWERI study indicated that, our MGD, our max daily demand in million gallons per day, is going to more than double between 2014 and 2045. So essentially, that's a significant pumping capacity that's going to be drawing from the aquifer. And the big question is, how do we plan long-term for that? And the biggest driver for us is to try and implement as many conservation behaviors as we possibly can between now and 2045 to help our customers understand the value of that. So last year, we implemented a new voluntary conservation rebate program. Essentially, the program provided customers with up to a $700 rebate for our residential customers and a $1,400 rebate for our commercial customers that installed WaterSense labeled toilets, irrigation controllers, and spray sprinkler nozzles. We had high hopes for this program, and we were a bit bummed because we maybe had 10 customers take advantage of that. I do want to make a plug while we're talking about this for IWAC's and Spokane Aquifer Joint Board's Outdoor Watering Nerds website. North Kootenai does have a link to Outdoor Watering Nerds on our website, and I've provided the web address. There's a lot of local tips for conserving water through irrigation. North Kootenai also, we do have a conservation plan, and we do ask our users to not water between noon and 6 p.m. every day, but that's also something that's pretty challenging for us to police. So that would be the voluntary aspect of it. And we're hoping as time goes on, maybe that will become more popular. The other aspect that North Kootenai is implementing is a tiered metered structure. So essentially, the more water that's used per month, the higher the rate. In 2024, we increased our upper tier on the main system. So essentially, those are water systems that draw from the aquifer. And we increased it to $3.67, which is a 25% increase from where it was. And we didn't see any price elasticity occurring. Essentially, what we saw was our customers didn't slow down. It wasn't enough to encourage conservation by a higher water bill. So we did some additional analysis this year, and what we learned was that about 10% of our customers are actually using more than 100,000 gallons per month, which is a lot of water. The customers that are using that water are primarily our commercial customers that have 2-inch meters. And again, about 10%. So the issue for us is a conservation issue, but it's also a regulatory issue because the Idaho Department of Environmental Quality requires drinking water systems to meet their peak day demand with their largest pump out of service. So essentially, the customers that are using more than 100,000 gallons per month are the primary drivers for us in having to upgrade our infrastructure. So in order to try and get people to conserve, the board of directors did approve a restructuring of that rate structure. So 100,000 gallons and above now are going to be paying, as of this year, $7.34 per thousand when they use more than 100,000 gallons. In 2021, I also wanted to mention that you probably remember the heat dome that we had in June, and that essentially reset the district's peak day demand for us. That was a record-breaking year. However, that has now become the peak day that we need to meet with our largest pump out of service. So the next thing that we started looking at was our meters, our service meters. So every customer that has a connection to the North Kootenai Water District system has a service meter. And we began in 2023 doing some bench testing of the meters that were in the system. We have some manual meters that are 20 years old. We have radio read meters that are about 10 years old. So we essentially took 100 meters, or maybe actually it was 90 meters, of various different ages and manufacturers, and the city of Coeur d'Alene water department was kind enough to allow us to use their bench testing system. So the bench testing system is calibrated, and it essentially allows you to install multiple meters into this calibration table and run flows through it at a measured rate and determine the accuracy of the meters. So of the meters that we tested, of the 90 that we tested, 33 of those meters failed on the calibration under low, mid, or high flow ranges. 2 of them were new meters, 15 were less than 10 years old. And that surprised us because typically the industry rule of thumb perhaps is that the older the meters get, the more likely they are to underreport. But this bench testing raised some additional concerns that we really weren't getting a good gauge on our metered usage through our services due to the inaccuracy of the meter reads themselves. So we did work with our board of directors to initiate a meter replacement program. And what we recommended to the board was to go with a Badger Meter E-Series G2. It's an ultrasonic flow-through design, so it doesn't have a potential to obstruct through like a propeller type of a meter, and it's made of a lead-free bronze, and it's accurate within 1.5% to 3%. The other very cool thing about the AMI meters is they provide a real-time cellular-based reading. So we are essentially getting meter reads from each of the AMI meters. Just essentially, they are reported to the district's beacon meter software every 15 minutes, which has been really an amazing thing. We, in conjunction with this, and we're really excited about this, and we're also hopeful, we became aware that the Bureau of Reclamation has a Water Smart grant, and that Water Smart grant can cover 50% of a meter implementation program, which we did apply for. We did understand that currently that grant opportunity has been paused indefinitely, but we are hopeful that it will reopen again. What was fascinating, in order to apply for this grant, we needed to complete a pilot study on one of our systems, and we did that on the Ohio Match system. So we looked at the metered usage on the system while the service connections were being read by radio read meters. And then we looked at the total usage the following year when the system was, the service connections all had AMI meters installed. And what we saw was a 12% reduction in the municipal metered usage. We were kind of surprised because we were anticipating that the older meters may have been underreporting, and we weren't quite sure what that pilot would show, but we actually did see a reduction, which was the equivalent to 2 million gallons over that 1 year pilot across only 45 service connections. So if we were to anticipate a similar reduction district-wide, once we have full implementation, that would be equivalent to 127 million gallons or 285,000 CFS every year. There's also considerable energy saving costs. We utilized the Bureau of Reclamation's calculations to determine we would save 22,000 kilowatt hours per year. Essentially, those calculations were Bureau of Reclamation driven based on energy efficiency in residences that was realized because of conservation. We also realized that we could save 485 gallons of gas per year, which is the equivalent of 17,000 gallon or 17,000 kilowatts per hour. And that would be based on field staff not having to drive over 200 miles to get to all of the services to read the meters. So where we are at now is we're going to continue to install the AMI. We are hopeful that we might receive a grant. We are hopeful that the grant opportunity would open up. And if so, we would be able to accomplish this in about 3 years. Otherwise, we're looking at probably another 6 years to get this fully implemented. Another piece of the AMI software that is so amazing is that we now have our own, we have a website that's sponsored or hosted by Beacon Software, where all of the meter data is transmitted. So every morning we can get leak alerts on service meters. This is a map that we can look at, and it will show us where leaks are being detected, and the actual volume of the leak. So we can respond to leaks in a much more rapid fashion than we could previously. The best we could do before AMI was once a month while we were reading the radios, but we have manual meters out there in the system as well that we're not able to access all winter. So leaks could go undetected for 5 to 6 months in the wintertime, and we wouldn't be aware of them in the spring. We have had some pretty significant property damage done to homes that did have leaks that did go undetected over the winter months. We've seen that as well, and we sure hate to see that. The other fun piece about this is it also comes with an Ion Water customer supported application. So our customers can actually download the Ion Water app on their phone or their computer, and they can track their water usage. I hope you can see this, but this is a graph that tabulates if they're trying to achieve reductions, it will let them know how much water they're saving. And this is by week, but they can also track their usage by hour, day, month, and year. And they can even plot it with precipitation. I don't know if all of our meters have precip. Another really fun aspect of this is they can set leak alerts. So if there is a leak, the app will send them a text or an email notification within 15 minutes. They can also get usage alerts. So if they are trying to stay within a certain threshold to manage their water bill or their usage, they can actually receive a alert if they go above that usage during the month. So it's been a really neat thing to see. And I think in my mind, this application is also provides real-time data for our customers. So they have more tools at their disposal, if you will, to try and conserve water. As far as our future goals, we would like to meet or exceed a 15% district-wide reduction in our consumption at full AMI implementation. We are still hopeful that that grant opportunity with Bureau of Reclamation may be reinstated. We look forward to helping our customers instill more conservation behavior. The AMI Ion Water application is so great for trending water usage and leak notification. We're also working on encouraging customers to use water smart irrigation and household appliance fixtures and take advantage of district rebates. We are noticing that we're benefiting from faster notification and response to leak detection software, and a tiered metered usage for us just feels more fair. If you use more, you're taking advantage of more infrastructure, and those customers really should pay more for that. My hope is that that tiered meter usage that we've set this year will also hopefully foster more conservation behaviors. We're looking forward to reducing greenhouse emissions by not having to drive to read the meters, and then, energy-related pumping costs by actually having to pump less water. Avista did reach out to us in the fall of 2024 to let us know they had applied with the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission for a 25% rate increase over the next 2 years. Kootenai Electric implemented a 9% rate increase last year, and we're just anticipating that pumping costs are continuing to go up. I wanted to provide the Bureau of Reclamation contact information for their grant. This is a great program to take advantage of, and I am so hopeful it can be reinstated. There's multiple grant opportunities that are available to conserve water. It isn't just for meters. We actually also applied for a SCADA grant through the Water Smart program this year too. So I think with that, I'd love to open it up to questions.
Give me 1 minute. Oh, here we go. Okay. Lori Perry wants to know, she says, I am on a small private water district south of Spirit Lake, and we do not have meters. I'd like information to present to our water board to help convince them the need for meters.
Absolutely. Lori, you're more than welcome to reach out to me, and I am a huge proponent of meters. I would be very happy to help you get information together for that. There's different ways that you can go. There's manual read meters, there's radio read meters, there's the AMI. The AMI meters themselves cost, I think that they're costing us less than $500 each right now. So feel free to reach out.
Okay. That's all we have so far. Anybody else have anything?
Yeah.
Oh, Rebecca Stevens
Oh, hi,
says,
Rebecca.
thank you so much, Suzanne. You all
Yeah.
do such a great job on great things to conserve water throughout the district.
Oh, thanks, Rebecca. And just Rebecca was really awesome when we did write this grant. The Coeur d'Alene tribe provided their written support, and we're very, very grateful to them for that. One way or another, we will get this done. Our preference would be to take advantage of this grant so that we can use our reserves for other projects that are needed as well. We'll see how it goes. Mhm.
Anybody else? All right.
Well, thank you so much for having me. That was fun.
Yes, thank you, Suzanne. This was very informative. So I guess this concludes our round of final speaker series for this season. All the recordings will be up on our website at uidaho.edu/rgem, and I will be emailing this recording out to people in a couple weeks once it's been processed. And feel free to share it with whoever you'd like. So thanks again for joining us, Suzanne.
Thank you for having me.